Calling you a radical, Light the Night 2020. You know, it's been canceled. It's going to be virtual. So it was October 13th. I was in that room right there. The doctor told me I'd be dead within 2 months. Next doctor told me 6 weeks. It's a horrible journey, those few days. Vincent Hansen got involved. So it's important because I was invited to speak at Light the Night in San Diego this year. That's on 11/11. I went into the bone marrow transplant center on 11/11/11. By the way, I was too sick for a bone marrow transplant, as you know. After 3 rounds of heavy chemo, I had 4 tattoos up me. It was hardcore in there, going in and out of a coma. Really a brutal freaking journey. It's been a hardcore journey, and so I'm doing this video because I was asked to do this video, like I'm always asked to do videos, by Light the Night. So Light the Night 2012 is exactly to the day 1 year. I was in the hospital, but they let me go, and I went. Okay?
What will they do? Because they don't have a house yet.
At the old Sugar House Park, which is irony because that's the old Mormon prison. So it's important because of Kevin and Carla. Jeff Hennessy's always the #1 fundraiser. He's a gem. Try not to cry. Carla's from this town too. She got the same thing as me, AML de Nouveau. Death sentence. We fought together. Came out of the bone marrow transplant center 2013, January 2013. My first trip, of course, was to New York for the Aaron Swartz hearing. I went. Very hallowed, spiritual, hardcore times. The only time I ever really broke down. Then I went directly to the Senate offer hearing that we packed the house and caught the nuclear energy crime center completely off guard. That's when the cops, when I was deathly ill, put me in the it's a long story. That's when we took Senate Onofre to their knees. The nuclear energy crime center, the biggest blow to the nuclear energy crime system in history was Senate Onofre. Oh, we got him. So I come home 2013. One of my lifelong best friends, Paul Winchester, was in comment every day. He got the same thing as I did. He's being treated up at Huntsman, the luxury good of death, as at LDSD State. So I get home from Senate Onofre hearings, immediately right back into LDSD State. First question to my PA, that's Carla. You could see her. They're good at holding their emotions. She got all teary-eyed. You don't know, do you? No. I knew right then that second out of her voice because her voice cracked. She's doing so good. 2 bone marrow transplants. I said, she's dead, isn't she? Yeah, Kevin, I'm so sorry. I didn't get to go to her funeral because I was in SoCal. I didn't know. Got to keep them separated. They try to keep us separated. So Marshall Jensen was in the room next to me. You can Google Marshall Jensen's case. It's one of the most famous leukemia cases in American history. He and I went in the exact same time. We're very close. Room next to you. We had to make the decision on the bone marrow transplant pretty well the same day. He was young. I had a new child. He says, I'm going all in, Kev. I feel good about it. I says, yeah, I do too, but I chose not to, which, on the advice of Kimball Peterson. Brian Morris, who had the same thing before me, sent him home to die, AML de Nouveau. So Marshall had his. They're brutal, by the way. Didn't work. So he was one of the first groups to get the new treatment at MD Anderson in Texas. He was the first 25. Went down there, this experimental treatment. Didn't work. The famous professor in St. Louis, George Washington University, who was experimenting on matching the genome on AIDS and leukemia, AML, which they almost mirror each other. Many leukemia patients get diagnosed with AIDS when it's not AIDS, it's AML leukemia. They're so tightly. So, and the guy got cancer. It's kind of like me, you know. I'm my PhD, the cause and effect of Fukushima, all these things from my mouth into my ear. The modern day Rachel Carson, not gonna murder me. So he used his own treatment on himself, this doctor. They fast-tracked it through the FDA. Very first person on earth to get it, Marshall Jensen. In Philadelphia. This is the craziest story of them all. So, you know, this is in later 2013. I'm in New York. Had a connecting flight through Philadelphia. I go in there and I'm like, is that really Marshall Jensen's people sitting in the airport? I went over there and thought, no. Marshall died. Paul died right as I got back in 2013. He called me. He said, Kevin, it's back. No, he's doing so good. His comments are all over in here. He knew what got him. He grew up in Arco when he was a little boy. I met him when we were in the 5th grade on a basketball court. His life mirrored my mire so much. I get back from San Diego and he called me on the phone. Kevin. So I visited with him right before he died. Before he started going to coma, I went and signed. Kevin will be dead within 10 days. No. So as he went, he spent the last of it calming everybody around him down. He had 2 young daughters. It was really tough for him to calm me down. His last request to me, he says, fight for the steelhead salmon. He was an Idaho kid. He loved the steelhead. He knew. Now they've almost gone extinct. Marshall Jensen's wife was the keynote speaker 2 years ago at Light the Night. That little boy's 9 years old now. He's a 2011 baby like my grandson's. She says, I can't do this anymore, Kevin. You know, she says, you know, this is how I've mourned, is I've fought for Light the Night. And I says, then don't. I'll do it for you. I can hang. I'll keep his legacy alive. Talk about pioneer. So now we find out that the injection is working. Say there's been hundreds of people's lives saved by the HIV, AIDS treatment. It was a mistake. A doctor made a mistake on it, like they did right there with me. And they scoped me. Vincent Hansen stepped in. They tried to gut me. Bakara tried to open me. I refused the surgery. My uncle, who was the famous heart surgeon, Kevin, don't let them all open you unless you're going to die. Well, I was going to die, and I still refused. I said, no, you're not going to do that to me. They biopsied, which they should have never done. I had 4 tumors. Yes, leukemia can present tumors, and all you people that are saying, oh yeah, I took this, that, the other thing, and shrunk the tumors. It doesn't matter. It happens all the time. We see it all the time. You shrink the tumors and gives a, so what? It still kills you. The tumor is the byproduct. It's not the stem of the cancer. Leukemia. Cancer deaths post-Fukushima are up 38% in the United States, and that's with this incredible treatment. We're saving so many lives. The rate of cancer has gone psycho post-Fukushima. In the United States this year alone, I have access to the data. 500 and about 40,000 people have already died of cancer this year alone. That number is exponentially increasing, and that's with the rate of diagnosis has gone psychotic. This is with the cure rate going way up. Well, I don't use the C word. The life extension rate. I didn't have a bone marrow transplant. Brian Morris, who's exactly 9 years where I am right now, he was sent home to die. He came back in 9 years on him. And he had a transplant finally when he said he never would. It didn't work. He's a beast. But this new stem cell juice, the same thing my little great nephew had recently, he got from his son Winston. He was the 4th one to get it in the state of Utah. It worked. He's alive. I talked to him. I sat in the hospital with him as they did it. My daughter says, Kevin, you're the biggest miracle I've ever seen. The only person I know that has ML de novo, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, blood cancer. I'll never forget. Fimbo himself comes into my room. He's an anti-nuker, by the way, and I said I can feel him on lymph nodes now. This is after I'd been under chemo, heavy chemo in the 2nd or 3rd round. Himself, he used the SP. He reached up there and he didn't say a word. I don't know what they did, tweak the juice. I got 4 tattoos. The doctor who radiated me, I was his last patient. He'd been at LDS for 40 years. Very light, very delicate. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it if he didn't do it. I have 4 tattoos. Of course, my aortic valve failed. Open heart surgery right here. My gallbladder wore out. Mike Lee kicked me out Medicaid, so I couldn't have gallbladder surgery. It ruptured. Almost cost me my life 2 years ago. It's been a hell of a journey. It's a 1% survival bracelet. In fact, as Vincent says right here, you're the 1% of the 1% of the 1%. You're the biggest miracle ever. I walked the coast of California, dying. The whole coast. Not the Pacific Trail, the coast. Rex, he lays on with Astro. He walked with Astro, who's from Berkeley. That Astro, yeah, Astro's noise. That's him. Not Laura Pony is that phony. He died on the trail. There's 44 of us in that unit, that acute freaking group. I'm the only one alive. The torch goes on. I fight for the people that they murdered, the Nuke Monsanto, the Radio Roundup killers. I'm their voice. I'm their eyes. I'm their ears. I'm their spirit. They translate to me, I translate to you. So I'll do my light tonight, you know, virtual. I'll light my balloon. I'll find me one. I'll walk right around here. So I was asked to do this video by Light the Night. Only the good die young. Light the Night's such a hallowed thing. It's downtown Salt Lake now. We light our balloons. The survival circle. It's very hallowed. It's very sacred. It's very incredible emotion. Salt Lake City in October at dusk. It's powerful as hell. You know, and this, they honor. The mourners are all there. I've made almost every video that I've made, and I've done all my actors because I was asked to. And my deal in the bone marrow transplant is I will never say no. We'll fight these monsters every day as long as I'm given a second chance in life. And I've honored my deal. And I'll continue to honor my deal. And bottom line, I'm fighting for the people they murdered. That's who I'm fighting for. That's who I'm fighting for. Kevin Blanch, the greatest fight in human history. Light the Night 2020. Stay tuned.